Okay, good morning, everybody. Everybody's well. Happy Wednesday for those that are here live. For those that are here at any other day that you're listening, thank you so much. I'm getting some emails from people that are listening on road trips and whatnot, and I just feel honored to be with you wherever you are. So thank you so much. We've been talking about this idea of gratitude, what it does. Back to my mic here, sorry. What it does for our minds, what it does for our equilibrium. Gratitude is not a nice thing for other people. Gratitude is the secret to how we can live more empowered lives. So I just want to share with you something that's been going on here. And of course, as you know from the show, so many times in life, at least I feel, and I hope you do as well to some extent, the stuff that we're talking about is very much related to the stuff going on around us. So if you remember, I told you the story of my teacher, Yotab Eliach, in ninth, when I was in 12th grade, called me after I didn't make seminar, if you remember that. So there's a great organization called Meaningful Minute. They're awesome. You should check them out. They clip various speeches for in small clips. So even just so happened to be that I had given this story over at a speech last March. That's just how God runs the world. I guess they just clipped it and they sent it around. And so now more people, I mean, you guys, we spoke about this weeks ago, but now, thank God, there are more people that heard this story. When you hear a story about being a high school kid and getting rejected from something that you thought you should have been accepted to, and as a result, it makes you feel less, and some teacher sees you and changes your schema, it it impacts people. It impacted me. It's not the story. It's it's life for so many people, including myself. So I got a lot of texts from it and emails. And I got like three types of texts. For those that are tuning in right now, the story was of like I said, some of the text that I got was people saying that was my blank. You know, the story of somebody believing in you. That was my ninth grade teacher. That was my rabbi. That was my principal. That was my grandmother. Some of the toughest guys in my contact list. Really, it's amazing. Some of the toughest guys in my contact list. Really, like real tough guys, you know, ice in their veins, stares out a bank, knowing that they have to raise a certain amount of money. Like, you know, some of the toughest guys emailing me. That was my, you know, seventh grade teacher. There are people in our lives that did things for us that were beyond what we thought they would, how it would impact us. We have families that saw things in us. We have loved ones that support us, and it shapes us. We don't even realize it. I didn't even realize that this teacher had an impact on me until a few years ago when I told the story. And as I was telling the story, it was coming back to me. Right? I didn't remember the story from high school until 3 years ago. And I'm telling the story about seeing the greatness in people. As I'm telling the story, the details are coming back. And I'm like, wait. And when I was done with that speech, it was in the summer on the drive home from upstate. I was like, wait. And then the details are coming together. And I didn't even remember the teacher. Do you realize like it was so buried in my subconscious that I didn't remember the story and I didn't remember the teacher? Only after I told it a few times, I'm like, yes, it was him. And it was for that. And then, right, all the pieces came together. And then, because God's awesome, we happen to live in the same community. And I never see him because we don't live next to each other. And there's 1,000 people in our community. And so he happened to be in CVS an hour before Shabbat. And I happened to have seen him. And I stopped him. And he didn't even remember because this is what he does. But the process of identifying the people around that had an impact on me and expressing my gratitude to them, it was so powerful for me. The gratitude that I have for people around me. As I look at my life and see my father and my mother and my grandparents, and just look at them and see the impact that they had. Not that I'm anything, I'm a nobody. I hope one day to become somebody, but right now I'm still working on myself. I'm a work in progress, but at least along the way, you can pause and go, wait, this gave me this guy gave me this person gave me this. The way the rabbi of my shul looks at me and how much he supports. And I've been in that shul for 15 years. Always the positive eyes that he gives. And along the way, you start to see that there are people that have been behind you. These exercise of recognition that there's a world that I have missed. It's not just that I'm grateful for being alive, which is obvious. It's not just that gratitude is the things that make me realize that although I'm going through a challenge, I'm blessed to have a child or whatever. That's great. That's gratitude for sure. But it's more than that. It's being able to look over our shoulders and look in our rearview mirror and say, wait, along the way of my life, there have been people that have given me things that are in me right now. Have I been grateful for them? Forget saying anything to them. Have I been grateful for them in my life? Am I grateful for the local person in my community trying to teach me spirituality? Am I grateful for the parent that wants the best out of me? Am I grateful for my kids' teachers? My son had a teacher when he was growing up in one of his schools that nearly destroyed him. Nearly destroyed him. Basically said that he wasn't whatever. And for my son, it was forget it. It wasn't like he yelled at him. He just subtly suggested that he wasn't smart enough to play at the level of the class, which is not true. Baruch Hashem. And I watched my own child lose confidence in himself. It was heart-wrenching for me and my wife. And the teacher was like, what? You know those teachers? What? What? What did I say? You know those? The out to lunch teachers? I just said that he was A, B, and C. Is he going to listen to me? Yeah. Yeah. He's like 11 or 12. He's going to listen. And this is your second year teaching. You know what I'm saying? You know, do you guys know that type? Am I just talking to myself? Do you guys know the type? The teachers that like think they can predict the child for the future. You know that type? And then suggest to the child that you're not enough, you know? But they don't do it like in a mean way. They do it in like a by the way, you know? Parent teacher conference, at the kid in school, with his friends. My son had one of those. It was a year. We had to get him retested just to prove to him who he was. And then he had another teacher, 8th grade, who saw in him who he can be. He lifted him up and he changed him. As much as a dad and a mom tries to change a kid, there's nothing like a teacher. 8th grade teacher. You know how grateful I am to that guy? There are people along our ways. There are people in our lives that shape our lives. If we don't slow down, we won't realize how grateful we need to be to other people. How grateful we need to be to those teachers that are building our children. How grateful we need to be to those people in our lives that see us and see each other. If we don't slow down, we're going to run through life and not get it. We're so used to running and accomplishing that we miss out on some of the greatest joys, which is the joy of gratitude by being around people that deserve our gratitude. Forget saying anything to anybody. That's already advanced. Just recognizing it. Just recognizing it. It's so big. It could change our day. It could change how we see the world. Yeah, Dina, you're right. And you know, I got to tell you, there are a few things that were as enjoyable. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit of an emotional guy if you couldn't tell. If you couldn't tell by now that I'm a little emotional. Whatever, that's who I am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I tear up a lot. There are a few things that are as enjoyable than getting the courage to turn to the person who made a difference in your life and say thank you. Sometimes they think you're crazy. Who cares? You know, there's a great woman named Shimi Adar. She's like this powerhouse. I don't know if you know her or not. A powerhouse of a person. And she had a line once on one of our Shabbat shows where she said, I reached a point in my life where I don't care what anybody thinks about me as long as I'm doing the right thing. And I remember hearing that from her and going, man, I wish I can get to that level. Who cares? Who cares what people think of us? What matters is whether we do the right thing. And when we have the courage to slow our lives down and to look around to the left and to the right and to the front and to the back and to recognize recognize the people in our lives that have shaped our lives, the principals and the teachers and the doctors and the parents and the friends that we have that have been there for us, the times where we felt like nothing and our friend looked at us and we sensed that they didn't judge us from who we are. They just judged us because we were friends with them, and that lifted us. The friends that we had growing up that we've forgotten. Yesterday, I was paying a shiva call to a good friend of mine who lost his dad. And on the call was a guy. He came on. His father passed away. His father was in his early 80s. Wonderful man. He was a tower of a giant of a man. And his son, my friend, was sitting shiva for his dad. And he had Zoom hours, and I was on. And on the call was a guy he didn't recognize. This is such a. I was so moved by this, and it's going to sound so simple. And I'm sorry, but it moved me so much. And on the call, on the Zoom thing, was a guy. So my friend Keith is going around the Zoom call and saying, hi, so and so, right? And he's welcoming the people on the Zoom call, trying to make them feel more comfortable. Zoom Shiva is uncomfortable. Shiva is uncomfortable, but Zoom Shiva. And this guy comes on and he says, and as he's talking, the guy who comes on says, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to just send my condolences. And he says, sure. And he goes, can I tell you who I am? He said, sure. Now remember, the man who passed away was in his 80s. He said, your father was my camp counselor. My camp counselor 60 years ago. And I'll never forget him. The way he made me feel. How he empowered us. And I got to notice because I'm connected to this organization, and as they get the broad Shiva notices. And I got to notice, and I had to tell you that I remember your father like it was yesterday. And he knew the camp his father went to. He knew the camp this guy's mother went to because they were dating. He knew what his father did, and I remember him as my camp counselor. You're a camp counselor in your 20s. This man was in his 80s. And the son, my friend Keith, said, you're the second Shiva visit we had today from camp. Powerful people. This is life, man. This is life. It's about the impact we have on other people in these small nuances. We think the people that change the world are like the ones that are, behind screens or in front of pulpits or on TV. That's not true. Everyone does what they do. It's the small stuff. It's the moms, the dads, the camp counselors, the friends, the parents, the teachers. It's me and you every day in our lives. We choose to be empowering. We choose to see the good in other people. We choose to be grateful for other people. And we choose to see other people for what they do for us. That's what it means to be grateful. That's what it means to take a deep breath in this world and not always run and not see the negative in this world, to see the person down the block who smiled at us and to never forget them. You don't got to call them every week and be like, hi, I just want to tell you, because it's weird, but just to recognize them. And just to every once in a while be able to express your appreciation for those people that have subtly built us and built the people around us. It blows up the relationship. It creates something that's real. It creates bonds of connections to the people around us. It makes us into a person that's grateful. It makes us into a person that is always aware that every second of my life, I could be the camp counselor that smiles at somebody else that they'll never forget. And hopefully will live to 120. And don't you want to get to a place that at the end of one's life, people from all over are calling and going, by the way, I don't know if you know this because this person wasn't my this, or this, but the way they looked and said and talked, and that one time I was down, that's what we should be in life. We should be these people. We should be the people that everybody knows that when they come into our world, they leave more empowered. We're not competing with them. We're not always mad at them. We're not always annoyed at something. We're not always thinking of ourselves over them. They're not always getting in our way. And once we start to see it in what had happened to us, and once we start to express it, it becomes part of our neurological makeup. It builds the neuroplasticity that this is valuable. This is what my life is about. Making the world better, one person at a time, every second at a time. It changes the dynamic of I'm still going to work hard. We're still going to do our stuff. But the whole day has meaning. Gratitude. The most powerful force that we have. Try this today. You know what? Let's do this together. It's Wednesday. This is the end of the year. Let's all of us let's do something hard. Ready? Let's do something hard. And then email me afterwards, charlie@charlieharary.com, and tell me how it went. Let's do this. Pick one person in your life that had impact on you. Between now and then, email, text, WhatsApp, note, or call. Blow someone up. Blow somebody up. Email, text, WhatsApp, call. Find someone in your life, mom, dad, friend, teacher, whoever, camp counselor. Quick note, want to let you know. Thank you. That's cool. I think that's living. All right, we'll continue this. I want to hear from you. No matter how you're listening to this. We'll continue. Have an awesome day. Make it a great day. And remember how powerful your eyes are. With God's help, I can't wait to see you again tomorrow.